Hello, in this video I'm going to go over a werewolf DPS build that I have created. I'm going to go over a easier build that will work with just dungeon gear, and then a more difficult one to obtain because it has perfected trials gear on it. But I wanted to show you how amazing and effective the werewolf is, even if you don't have uh, trials gear to use. But let's get into it. The first one, as you can see on the screen, I'm not even using Savage Werewolf. I'm using two dungeon sets. One of them comes from Darkshade Caverns, and that is called the Automaton set. The Strength of the Automaton. If you're not familiar with this set, it is a medium armor set from Darkshade Caverns. It gives you critical chance, one line of max stamina, and a line of weapon damage, and then it gives you 400 weapon damage to your physical and bleed abilities. So I'll cover that here in a minute when we get into looking at the parses and things like that. So the other set I am using is Blooddrinker. This comes from Bloodroot Forge. It's a DLC dungeon located in Eastern Craglorn. If you're not familiar with this set, it is another medium armor set that provides you with critical chance, weapon damage, and another line of critical chance, and then it increases your bleed damaging abilities by 20%. So why am I pairing these two? One of them gives you 400 weapon and spell damage to your bleed and physical attacks, and one of them gives you bleed damage. So let's take a look at the damage parse numbers here that I've gotten. This first one here is where all of the sets are located here, the Blooddrinker and the Automaton. So we're going to go over here to the damage, and we're going to come down here to what damage type. As you can see, present on the build, 62% of the damage comes from bleed, and another 15% comes from physical. So the Automaton set is giving 400 weapon and spell damage to just about 78%. 77% of your damage coming from the build is physical and bleed. And then the Blooddrinker set is giving you 20% more damage to the largest portion of damage type that you have on the build. This is going to buff the skills that do bleed damage in addition to the hemorrhage status effect. We can just go through the top skill lines here. As you can see, the light attack from the werewolf does bleed damage. And then the execute from werewolf also does bleed damage. The ultimate from the berserker morph does bleed damage. And then we have the hemorrhage status effect, and the bloody gnash does physical damage. So that's where the Automaton is also going to cover that. And we've got a bleed and physical from the bloody claws. So the very top 6 skills or so here, as you can see, are all going to be buffed by those two sets. So those are really strong selections to use. The other reason why I chose these two sets is they are not tied to a specific mechanic handling those. So for example, if you wanted to swap out the Shattered Paths Signet and put on perhaps a Volothi mythic, and maybe you don't light attack as often, you could absolutely do that. Your damage is probably going to change a little bit, but as you could see from the journal here, the status effects on this setup are not really the top damage providers here. We do have hemorrhage doing about 10%, so that would drop considerably from just that. But as you can see down here, concussion, burning, poison, they're down in the lower end. So if you were to buff your entire toolkit with the Volothi Mythic, getting that 15% damage done to monsters and buffing all of this up here, you might have a very similar workup without having to focus on light attacking. Haven't tested that out yet. I probably am going to do that here when I get some of the other skills leveled up to try some of the channeling, maybe perhaps the other morph of the Blood Claws, the channel. I might try a build with that to see how Volothi works with that once I get everything leveled up. But I wanted to do a video here with just the werewolf leveled up on the standard DPS skills to show that you can still hit some incredible numbers with just basic dungeon gear. As you can see, I hit 139,000 DPS on this build with Lavafoot Soup. I'm a full-blown Dark Elf pure sorcerer with the Font of Power and Static Reverberation. And so as you can see there from the build on here, I am not wearing any Trials gear. This is just the Shattered Path Signet with 2 dungeon sets and a 1-piece Slime Craw. If you want to freeze frame this and get all the CPs and everything, the Blooddrinkers is on the we'll just go through the build like I normally do here. The CP for the Blue Tree, Deadly Aim, Master at Arms, Backstabber, and Exploiter. Red Tree, Boundless Vitality, Fortified Rejuvenation, and Celerity for the increased movement speed. And then the Green Tree does not matter other than you get Steed's Blessing for extra movement speed. Again, we've got the Thief Mundus Stone, the Lavafoot Soup for the food. Then for the front bar, we don't have skills listed here because we are in werewolf form. So I'll back out and cover the skills here. I have Hircine's Rage. This is the Hircine Bounty morph. Then we've got Feral Carnage, Bloody Gnash, Blood Claws, Ferocious Roar, and then we've got the Berserker Ultimate. So these are the morphs you're going to want to use to get the most optimal DPS for the DPS build. So let's get back into the journal here and get into the build here. Go to the gear sets. So we have 2 front bar Blooddrinker charged daggers, 1 flame glyph, and 1 poison glyph. Then we've got a light Slime Craw with all of the armor is divines with stamina glyphs. So we have Slime Craw light, Strength of the Automaton, medium jack divines stamina, Strength of the Automaton shoulders, Blooddrinker divines with a stamina on the waist, Automaton divines with a stamina on the gloves, the legs, and the feet. And then we have Blooddrinker, Bloodthirsty with a weapon enchant, Blooddrinker with a weapon enchant there, Bloodthirsty on the jewelry, and then the Shattered Paths Signet. So as you can see, I was able to hit 139,165, and I missed 10 light attacks while doing that. And you might say that's incredible. Werewolf is extremely easy to parse with because you're basically only managing essentially one skill while you activate the other ones to keep them up. I will parse in the video to show you that, but I do want to show one other parse here. When I did parse with the optimized Savage Werewolf setup with Zahn, One Piece, and the Shattered Mythics. So this is essentially the same thing, except for I have the Perfected Mora's Scribe's Thesis for the Trials set here. And I was very lucky to only miss 3 light attacks in the parse, and I was able to hit 148,548 there, as you can see. And from the damage analysis of this parse, gave me the idea to try these 2 sets here, the 2 dungeon sets. So I'm going to show you that setup basically is essentially the same, the 148,000. So we got just about 10,000 more with that trial set, which is extremely high. But I want to show how crazy and effective this is just with easy to get dungeon gear. You don't have to have a trial setup to essentially hit massive numbers. So I'm going to go ahead and do a parse here in the video before I close it out so I can show how well this affects or essentially works. So I'm going to talk you through what I'm doing. I'm going to start off by getting the rage, and then light attacking and then keeping this frenzy buff up. And that's really the biggest thing you want to keep up is the frenzy buff. And how you need to keep track of that is you need to watch your skill bar, and the icon that is just about towards the right hand side of the ribbon right now, and then you need to fire off your ultimate when your rage hits. So we're just about there. We're going to hit the green one again, get the feeding frenzy buff up again, and while these are active, we're just going to light attack and hit the Nash right after that. And we're just going to watch the numbers on the fancy action bar to make sure that we're light attacking and hitting a skill in between. And when we need to hit that frenzy button again to refresh, that's really the only thing that is not on the skills buttons that has a good timer. So it's really kind of the only thing you have to keep your eyes on. And when this gets up into the execute numbers is really when you're going to see the numbers jump up higher, because this hits a lot harder when the bloodthirsty starts to kick in. And again, you just want to try and keep your rhythm so that you keep everything up. While maintaining your light attack right before the skill. Okay, so you can see there I hit 134,000. Almost, just about 134. I missed 34 light attacks with dungeon gear on, no trials gear at all. So this is a really easy build to handle. So try out this werewolf build if you're interested in getting an easy to build werewolf. I did a previous video. I will link that in the description of how to get lycanthropy as well as how to level your werewolf very fast. I will put both of those videos in the description. If you are kind of still trying to figure out what to do with werewolf, I highly recommend you jump in and try this out. I'm assuming they're probably going to nerf this in the near future because it is extremely powerful. It's got a lot of major buffs on it, and I can't see this lasting for very much longer without them taking a look at it and raising an eyebrow. So get in there and get some work in on the werewolf. I guarantee you it's going to be a lot of fun. The amount of damage that you can do is going to be a lot of fun to work with. So if you liked this video or thought it was interesting, please consider liking the video and subscribing to my YouTube channel. I have a very large catalog of videos on my YouTube channel. If you go to my YouTube channel and go to the playlist, you will find all of my organized content there. I've got DPS videos, tanking videos, healer videos, add-on overviews, general guides, all kind of stuff organized by subject there. Check them out, see if there's anything else that you might be interested in. Thank you again for watching, and I will see you in another video. Bye.